So after week 2, going into week 3, there's some crazy injuries that are going to wreck some fantasy football teams. And going into waivers and stuff, you need to know about them. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Injury report for 2025 week 3. I mean, these are the most noteworthy headlines here. Joe Burrow, obviously. And that's the first one we're going to talk about right here. We're looking at the quarterbacks. So with Joe Burrow out, this turf toe, like, oh, he has a real turf toe injury. Oh my goodness, put some ice on it. No, it's not really that kind of injury, even though that's what turf toe kind of sounds like. A grade 3 turf toe is actually like season ending. It's like tearing and ripping of the cartilage there in your toe and kind of in your foot there. And you just can't run, can't plant, can't do much of anything. Over 3 months, he's going to be out. So I don't know if you've seen this, but Jake Browning right here, meant to highlight it though, came in and he really doesn't do too bad. Now, what does this mean for Jamar Chase and T. Higgins? Well, when you got Browning in here, he's probably not really all that great, right? Well, he came in for 9 games in replacement of Burrow. He was the quarterback 15 that year in the 9 games that he played. That's kind of shocking. That's points per game. It does only say 16.8, but that's good enough for 15 actually that season. If we come down and look at the 1 game that he did play, and this wasn't even the full game, he threw for 241, threw for a touchdown, and ran one in, shockingly enough, for 20 points. He's probably going to be close to a quarterback 1 on this week, too, and he didn't even play the entire game. So definitely 2 quarterback superflex stuff you got to be getting Jake Browning. Joe Burrow is essentially a cut candidate. So with those type of stats, how does that mean for Jamar Chase, though? If we look at the game when he was there for week 2 here for Jacksonville, he had 16 targets. Crazy. 14 receptions and a touchdown, good for 36. Now, there were some huge fantasy weeks this week. This isn't even going to be wide receiver 1, but 5, top 8, something like that. And I mean, this, if you get 14 catches and a touchdown for 165 yards in a week, there's no doubt you want that. So Jamar Chase, I think, is pretty much going to be perfectly fine, to be perfectly honest. But T. Higgins, is he going to be fine? I don't know. It depends what you draft him for. He's not really a wide receiver 1. Sometimes people would draft high quarterbacks and tight ends and stuff, and he'd end up being their wide receiver 1 or something. But he still got 8 targets. 3 of them got a lucky touchdown. I don't know if the touchdown was lucky, but the fact you only caught 3 balls and 1 of them was a touchdown, I'm saying is you can't count on catching 3 passes and getting a touchdown every week. 56 yards for 14 points. You're not going to be super mad at 14 points at like a wide receiver 3, maybe a 2, but I would probably put him at being the wide receiver 2 for the team as like a wide receiver 3 flex type area. You're probably not benching him because Browning's been shown to be capable quarterback. Like, he's probably better than Trevor Lawrence from the looks of it. He's probably better than, you know, some of them other people. Stroud's been looking terrible this season. So Browning is probably better than some of those people who've been starting for their teams for a while. So Jamar Chase and T. Higgins probably both still locked and loaded starters, with our boy Jake Browning over here starting for Joe Burrow. And Joe Burrow's like, I mean, probably just cut him, you know what I'm saying? Maybe stick him in IR and wait it out, but I doubt it. So looking at the next one right here, we got Brock Purdy for San Francisco. The thing is that Mac Jones came in right here. So Mac Jones, actually, even though he wasn't good enough to cut it for New England, apparently, he did go ahead and fill in for Jacksonville last year. And it's going to be interesting to kind of show. And here's 2025 so far. He got 21 points. He was a quarterback 8. With the 1 game he played there for points per game. He threw for, with Purdy out, 279 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions for 21 points. Yes, they're playing the Saints. I get it. Not that great. But Mac Jones, actually, to show you what Mac Jones could do when Purdy is out, and Purdy's kind of expected, if we read a little bit further here, I think it was 2 to 4 weeks. Purdy's status will be 1 to monitor, expecting him to miss multiple games is what the kind of analytics are saying here. But actually, taking a look at somebody for Jacksonville, the team he played for last is actually where we're going to go. And take a look at, this was with Trevor Lawrence throwing the ball to Brian Thomas Jr. So he had some 20, 29, 44, yeah, a 9 and an 8 here. 62 the second, but then it was like 27, 59, 75. And then all of a sudden, he got hurt. Trevor Lawrence got hurt, and in came the golden boy, Mac Jones right here. And then he's right here, 18 points, 16 points, 32 points, 28 points, 23 points, 17 points. So he can absolutely feed a wide receiver that really, it's the ones that go ahead and go deep. We're looking at wide receiver Jennings. I wanted to pull up Juwan Jennings super quick. I know usually I have him pulled up and ready to go here. But Juwan Jennings, this last game with Mac Jones, right here, he had 10 targets. He caught 5 of them for 89 and a touchdown for 20 points. So Mac Jones apparently is just a gunslinger. He's like Brett Favre incarnate or something, because he's slinging it deep. He's slinging it. He likes the wide receivers on the outside that are kind of going a little bit deeper. Ricky Pearsall only had like 5 catches for 50 yards or something like that. Not terrible, but not the 5 catches and a tutty for 90 for the 20 points that went to Juwan Jennings. So I think Mac Jones will still keep the wide receivers viable. I don't know that it's much of a downtick. It seemed like the team's kind of ready to rock perfectly fine, even with, our boy, Mac Jones. Up next is Justin Fields. This is not going to be one we're going to need to really take a look at a whole bunch. Fields got hurt. He's not a great thrower. He kind of ran more. Some people were kind of high on Fields because he runs so much. He's coming in to guaranteed starter. And we've got Tyrod Taylor down here coming in to start if Fields can't go. Now, he had a concussion. Fields did. It's hard to impossible to really judge these concussions. Everyone gets, symptoms a little bit differently, whether they can come back, whether they cannot come back. But I don't believe it does a whole lot to change the outlook of the team. I know Justin Fields and Garrett Wilson, they had played in college. People thought they had a connection because they're, buddies from college even. So maybe there could be a slight thing there, but not a whole lot to really talk about in that instance right there. I don't think it really means a ton fantasy-wise. Unless you have Justin Fields, you got to move on to someone else. JJ McCarthy, he actually had an ankle injury. Expected to be out 2 to 4 weeks, even though he played the rest of the game. Sometimes that can happen. So with JJ McCarthy sitting out, who are they going to play? They just let Darnold walk. A few years ago, they let, leave, Kirk Cousins, and we have our boy, Red Rocket right here himself, Carson Wentz. You see, he's in the Kansas City Chiefs. He was backing up Patrick Mahomes for a few years. Now, is Carson Wentz great? Probably not. No, here's his stats from the other seasons: 15 points, 13 points. Not really that great. This is only 2. Here he played 8 games for 15 points, and I mean that he's probably fallen down there in the bottom half or whatever. But Carson Wentz, he may be better than JJ McCarthy. Honestly, JJ McCarthy looks absolutely terrible. Just terrible, terrible. So this might even be a blessing in disguise if JJ can sit out a few, for the next few weeks. Carson Wentz might be able to get the ball to Juwan Johnson better than JJ McCarthy could have. And look at my shirt. I'm a Michigan guy, and JJ McCarthy played for Michigan. So I'm being honest here. JJ he just does not look like he can play in the NFL. At minimum, he's not ready, I should say. I don't want to blow a guy up after 2 games, but he does not look like he's ready to play NFL football. So Carson Wentz coming in there. And I don't think it's a bad thing for Justin Jefferson. The other people on the team, it's hard to say. Probably not bad for them either. Now, Jaden Daniels has this knee injury. I don't have anything special to pull up for him either, because I don't believe this is super serious. He played the rest of the game. And the thing is, I was like, what's going on here? Why are they calling plays, and why'd they tell him not to run? Well, it turned out he kind of stopped running in that game because of this knee injury right here. So he probably, I'm not gonna say he probably should have came out. I want to take that one back before I even said it. But he was just standing in the pocket, just standing, staring, looking around, then getting sacked, stuff like that against Green Bay. Green Bay's pass rush is crazy. I hate to admit it, being a Michigan guy, Lions fan, but Green Bay looks freaking great with their defense anyways. So their offense is good enough, but that's not really what we're talking about here. So Jane Daniels, I think he should be fine by this week. I think it's more of like a bruise situation, but we need to monitor this one because there's not a lot more information going on there. If he can't play, boy, everybody on the team's downgraded for sure. Just hugely, bigly, extra, doubly. So keep an eye on that one. Aaron Jones from Minnesota. Now, he had a hamstring injury. No one's seen him get hurt, but all of a sudden he was like, oh, my hamstring. If you didn't know this, Aaron Jones, he's actually 47 years old. So this is going to take a while for these type of things to heal. Yeah, 30-year-old, no, and he always gets these soft tissue injuries. It's kind of been known. So the severity is unknown, but almost always, and as I mentioned here, one game, those hamstring injuries take forever to heal for some reason. I've only had one like a super long time ago, so I don't remember. But what does this mean for the new workhorse in Minnesota, Jordan Mason? Jordan Mason has actually looked pretty dang good this season so far. He had 15 carries in the first game for 75 yards. Pretty solid. Couple red zone carries against Atlanta for whatever reason. The offense was actually doing terribly, so they actually ended up having to throw more. So he only had 9 carries, but he did have a couple of targets, couple of catches, only 40 yards, so not great there. But the first week he was, running back 29, splitting carries, and now, I mean, he's going to be the workhorse unless they bring Ty Chandler to help out. backup there. Well, the third string backup. So Jordan Mason, if you got him on your team, he's looking pretty solid for at least a week, maybe even 2 or 3 or something, depending what this Aaron Jones hamstring injury is actually going ahead and looking like right there. So that's mega consequential. They got the new quarterback coming in too, another injury right here. Have to see how that goes. Austin Eckler, most people have heard of this. He tore his Achilles, done for what is probably the season, if not the end of his career, because he's in his upper 20s, or is he 30? Is he 30 now? Don't remember. Not that important, but his career is probably over. So Krosky Merritt, Bill, aka, expected to take over the lead. The thing is, with Krosky Merritt, everyone thought he was the new golden boy there in Washington. This last week against Green Bay, he had 4 carries, no catches, 17 yards. Austin Eckler had 8 carries, and I forget if he had a catch or any targets or whatever, but 1.7 points against Green Bay. So he only had 4 carries, and Eckler had 8 carries. This first week he looked great. I mean, 80 yards and a touchdown. Everyone was, going crazy. So they might have seen something or just been like, man, he got lucky on a run or two, but he really did not look good. I don't know for sure, but that might have been what the coaches thought. So who are the other options? Who's going to be the other RB2s? I don't think Krosky Merritt, and 7th round, almost the last pick of the draft. So he almost went undrafted. Rookie running back is going to be the full-blown workhorse here, like he's Derrick Henry or something. So we have Jeremy McNichols right here. He hasn't done a whole lot. He was active, got 4 carries the first week for 25 yards, but then against Green Bay, he didn't touch the ball. Routes, he didn't run any routes. He didn't get any carries. Snap share, he didn't even see the field. Even though Eckler tore out his, Achilles, he did not even get a snap share. So essentially, he was just there, just in case both Bill and Eckler got hurt. Sorry for me stumbling there. Another guy to look at is Chris Rodriguez. Now, how good did he do in these games? Oh, wait, there's not even, you can't see the drop down, but there's only 2024 stats. There's no 2025. He's been inactive all year. But last year, he was actually getting a little bit of play. You see right here, he was actually running back 15 on the week when he came in for an injury. 13 carries for 94 yards and a touchdown. I don't know why McNichols was active over him. Just in my opinion, Chris Rodriguez is probably better, just kind of from what I've seen. Here he is a running back 2, a back end anyways, but he only had, it was 10 points for running back 2, but a few different games when he got, some play. But Chris Rodriguez is another guy you might be able to pick up for some cheap fab, put him and see what happens, see how things shake out, because they may just, for whatever reason, I haven't really followed it, but maybe McNichols is a better special teamer or something, and that's why they carried him for the 3rd running back. If, Bill and Eckler were going to be taking all the carries and receptions, and then McNichol here is, I don't know, maybe he's good on punt coverage or something. I really have no idea. I'm going to be honest. Chris Rodriguez doesn't look like a great punt coverage guy at 6 foot 220. McNichols is actually 5'9", so he's a little more stout, it looks like. But Chris Rodriguez has a little bit of history here, did a little bit. McNichols here came from Tennessee, I believe. So this one is actually consequential and pretty dang important to keep an eye on. Now this Jalen Wright and Shipley here, they're both like backup running backs, but Shipley was held out with this oblique injury, whatever. He might not be back, and they did trade for Tank Bigsby, which makes me think that he might either not be back for a while. That's why they went ahead and traded for him. But either way, these ones aren't too consequential. Perhaps Jalen Wright, when he comes back, will be the RB2 there over Ollie Gordon that they talk about right here. But I mean, really, it seemed like before that even Ollie Gordon was kind of taking his job anyways. So not too consequential for those 2 rookies we don't really talk about. Moving down to wide receivers, Jaden Reed, broken collarbone, devastating. This is a 6 to 8 week injury in general. So there's a lot of options. So Dontavian Wicks, Romeo Doubs, Matthew Golden. Now, who are you looking at here? Romeo Doubs is probably the most consistent, but very uninspiring when you go ahead and look at what he did the first couple weeks. He gets 4 targets, 2 catches, but it was 68 yards for 8 points. Then last week, he did get I call it a lucky touchdown. If you get 2 or 3 targets and you get a touchdown, kind of a lucky touchdown. But 28 receiving yards on 3 catches, got 11 points because of the touchdown. So he's probably going to be the most consistent, but not a whole lot there. And there's, of course, the exciting rookie, Matthew Golden right here. Now, he hasn't really gotten a lot of work, which is kind of surprising, but that may tick up here. So if you have him, keep holding him on your bench, and hopefully you're seeing something good. But he just had 2 targets both weeks, and last week he didn't even catch one. But apparently he put up 1.5 points somehow. He must have had a carry for 15 yards there that they're not showing on here because he's a wide receiver. So that must have been what happened. But Matthew Golden's going to be interesting. 6 to 8 weeks. This could be his opportunity to really cement himself in the lineup, because really in Green Bay they spread it around a ton. Wicks, Dobbs, Golden. They're going to have probably they have another rookie guy that they drafted later or something. But one guy, Tucker Kraft, last week, we need to actually go ahead and pull him up because he went crazy. I had him on a fantasy team, started him over when Kittle went out. I also had Tucker Kraft. But this guy is the one that really benefited here. 7 targets, 6 catches, and a touchdown for 124 yards, 24 fantasy points for the tight end. So maybe, just maybe, actually, Tucker Kraft is the one to go ahead and look at there in Green Bay. Definitely any tight end issues you're having. If you lost Kittle, you know, hopefully maybe Kraft is on the waiver wire. I don't know his ownership, but it's probably like 70 or something. So doubtful, very doubtful. Or if he's on your bench, he could be somebody to go ahead and stick in there, and hopefully it works out good for you. So Christian Kirk coming back. The thing about Christian Kirk is, I don't know how consequential it's going to be when he come back. I actually drafted him kind of later, thinking, you know, he could be a PPR guy in the slot or whatever. Not looking that great. So they don't have the second game on here quite yet. It'll probably update the next day or whatever, because this is Tuesday. You know, the game was just last night. It started at like 10 o'clock where I live, so it's crazy. But he only got 9 points. CJ Stroud here, the quarterback. He did not do great last night either. I think he had 200 yards and a touchdown to Nico Collins. Kind of like spread around. I know Nico he usually gets his own. I think he had 50, 80 somewhere in there. Nothing insane or anything on the amount of points, but I don't know what you can really even are going to be able to trust Christian Kirk when he comes back. I have him, and I think I'm just going to leave him sitting there until he plays a thing here and there, but it's not even sure that he's going to be active if he does go ahead. But he should have value, according to this analyst right here, though. Provided value as a de facto wide receiver 2. I don't know how much value that's really going to be. It's one of you just got to sit and wait there on Christian Kirk. But hey, maybe Christian Kirk could even help out with CJ Stroud, giving him another underneath throw to go to there besides Dalton Schultz. Yeah, I think maybe that's it. But yeah, up here, Xavier Worthy, another guy I got on a fantasy team. Really wish he didn't get hurt on the 3rd play of the first game and give me a goose egg. That'd have been great, so I could have won that week instead of losing. But anyways, dislocated shoulder. Luckily, it sounds like it's super unserious. It's going to have probably some pain when he comes back a little bit. Hard to reach up with, you know, everything that gets hurt in there when you dislocate your shoulder. But all indications are that he'll be good to go for their week 3 matchup. So hopefully he's good to go. Hopefully he's going to be solid, because he could really help my team out. I don't know necessarily what this is going to mean for everybody else. We still got Rice out. Hollywood Brown might not get as much, but I don't know how much they're going to be using Xavier Worthy here after his dislocated shoulder, if there's going to be any ramp up or any type of just using him here and there because they don't want him to re-injure that same shoulder. So Xavier Worthy is going to be a tough, very scary play if he comes back this for a week 3 matchup. Talks about Godwin down here, but I don't really know how much this is going to be. He's inactive for week 2. Expecting him to remain inactive through week 4, so this doesn't really matter much. And these 2 injuries right here, this was obviously before the Monday night games when this was all written up or whatever. Bowers played. He played fine. I don't remember. He did okay. I think he got 12 points or something. Pretty good for a tight end, really, in NFL fantasy football. But for Bowers, that's like a bad game. I don't remember exactly what he got, but he played, and it seemed like he played perfectly fine. It was too late for me to stay up and watch it, but this one likely suited up. Likely was unable to suit up for week 2. He might be able to come back here. And the main thing with Likely, that's probably going to be a downgrade for all the rest of the receivers on the team if Likely comes back, because he's a big, tall, you know, tight end that would be a goal line and like end zone target there. So Isaiah Likely, if he does come back, just a small downgrade for a lot of people. Andrews is going to be mega crazy hit or miss, which I think he kind of was already before that. If you got anything on the video, hey, like, subscribe. Make sure you subscribe up, help a little channel out like myself. And hey, hopefully knowing about these injuries can help you out for your upcoming fantasy football matchup.